All right, Hugo's up next. He says, "Hey guys, I got a website in my area. I am looking to acquire that is somewhat mid-sized directory, but it has a category for SEO, and some of my competitors are listed there. How would you handle a site like this when acquiring it? Would you delete that category or leave it as is?" No, I mean, I'd probably leave it as is. What I would do though is, one of the things that I do for my directory site, because I'm building a second directory site right now, is put like if it's a WordPress site, you can use a plugin like no follow external links or something like that, which basically no follows all external links. And then for the sites that for directory clients of yours that are either paying for premium listings, or if, like for me, I don't sell premium listings in my directory. I just use it as a foot in the door, like a conversation starter, a way so that I can, I offer free listings to my target prospect. And if they reply to me, then we optimize their listing, and we optimize the listing. We flesh it out a lot more. We add more content and everything else. And then then I use that as a conversation starter. And then if I'm able to upsell them into one of my paid services, then once they become a paying client, whether it's SEO or reputation building or whatever it is that I'm selling them on, once they become a paid client, then I will turn their no follow links from the directory into follow links. Does that make sense? So that's something else that you could do, is just no follow all external links, and then selectively turn the links to follow for the clients or the directory, the companies that are listed on the directory that you want to promote to a follow link. Because here's another part of that. Like with my tree service directory, Tree Care HQ, I use that as a primary link building asset for my tree clients, right? So either my tree service clients or my own lead gen assets. So essentially what I'll do is I'll make those follow links. I'll use the directory page with an optimized page that then links out to the client's website, the Google Map, Google Business website, that kind of stuff. And then we turn those links to follow. And then I do a bunch of link building to those directory pages, right? So that I'm powering up I can push power through my own directory to my client's asset. Why do I want to do that? Well, because what happens if that client decides they don't want to pay me anymore, right? They don't want to be a client anymore. Then I can turn those links to no follow again, or I can delete their directory page. But if I've been building links to that directory, like it benefits my directory, right? The link building to my directory pages benefits my directory, but I can turn their links from their directory listing to no follow, so that they're no longer going to benefit from that link equity, but the directory still benefits from it. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like it's a buffer site, right? A directory becomes a buffer site. And if you own the directory, then you can do some pretty cool things there. Use that as a primary link building target, because now you're powering up your own directory when you're building links for your clients, but you're doing it through your directory pages, which then, it benefits you. And if the client ever stops paying, you can just no follow those links again, and they instantly lose the benefit from those, at least the link equity benefit from that directory page. So it's a great way to kind of that's the other thing, guys. Like, you may also want to consider this too. This is kind of outside of what you were asking about, Hugo, but when you're building links to client sites, you may want to consider setting up some of your own redirect domains, like branded redirect domains that you use with something like a plugin like Pretty Links, for example, because then you can create a 301 redirect URL to your client's assets, and then build links to your 301 redirect, right, that you have control over. So that way, if the client decides they want to stop paying you, now you can redirect that redirect URL to another asset. So another client that you get that's in a similar industry or the same industry, but in a different location, right? You can swap out, like change the target URL of that redirect. And now the link building that you've been doing for one client, if they stop paying you, don't lose all of that work. You can just redirect that work to the next client that you replace that client with, if that makes sense. So that's something else that's worth doing. I've done that recently for a lot of tree service stuff, because I'm tired of being the tree service contractors. Every single winter, I lose a bunch of tree clients that I picked up earlier that year. And it's just because the nature of the business is it's seasonal, and the tree work slows down a lot during the winter months. And so after several years now, of every year now for many years now, of whenever I go out and I do heavy prospecting for tree contractors in the spring. And then, I usually keep that up through the summer. But then around winter, so all the clients that I pick up for that year, I might pick up 6 or 8 or 10 clients throughout the busy season. But then things start to slow down, and I generally lose 50-60% of those clients because they say, oh, we're going to cancel services throughout the winter, but we'll be back in the spring. Well, part of the problem is, and I've experienced this over the last couple of years, is I generally do the SEO work that I do usually around month 5. They're at the top of the the maps packs and everything else for their area, and they become basically unmovable. Like because a lot, the entity stuff that we do, we semantic mastery, right? We talk about entity, strengthening the entity and making it a strong brand, so it becomes the authority in its local market. And so what happens is I end up getting those clients to rank so well that they want to cancel or suspend services throughout the winter months. But then the springtime comes and they're still ranking. So what's the point of rehiring me, right? And spending money again if they're still ranking well. And so I've gotten tired of that. The last 2 years I've experienced that because I was not protecting myself by building links through redirects and all of that other stuff. So this last year, I said, that's it. That's what I'm going to be doing from now on. So now whenever I build links to clients' assets, I do it through my own redirect URLs, so that when they decide that they want to suspend services for the winter, fine, no problem. I turn all those redirects off, or I point them elsewhere to clients that do continue to pay me. And then they start to slip, right? Because they basically lost all of that link equity that I built for months while they were paying clients, and they start to fall quicker than they would if I had kept all the links pointing to them and we just stopped doing SEO work, if that makes sense. And it still takes time. I just mentioned at the top of this webinar, one of the first questions about link echo. It's kind of a phenomenon that I see, and I see that now. Like if I turn off redirects or point them somewhere else away from a client that decided to stop paying, then we will still see them rank well for sometimes 2 or even 3 months before they'll start to slip. So it works out that for tree care contractors, fine. They want to cancel or suspend services in November. That's fine. No problem at all. I'm going to turn off all those redirects or redirect them to paying clients that are still paying. And we will watch by usually February or so, they have started to slip drastically in rankings, maps, as well as organic. And so that's right around the time that, things start to pick up a little bit again. It starts to become springtime and things start to get busy again. And guess what? They're going to want to come back. And it's not unethical. The way I look at it is, if I spend all this time and effort and money to get them ranked, and then they just cancel services, and, what's the point of them getting to keep all that forever just because I did such a phenomenal job? You know what I mean? That work is my blood, sweat, and tears, right? That I should be able to reutilize and utilize on other assets if needed, if that makes sense. So that's something else that you might want to do, would be to consider using redirect URLs that you have control over, so that you can maintain control of the links that you've built, even if a client decides they want to stop paying you. So